Leave us alone for a change.
The politicians and regulators always want to do more. Recently, there have been shortages of some drugs. You may have heard about that. Cancer patients can't get drugs they need. Well, why? Well, one reason is that a big drug maker shut down for about a year, in part to meet FDA rules. The FDA is so tough, it makes it so expensive to make a drug that often drug companies say, we can't afford to make that. So does the FDA then say, sorry, we'll back off? No. The regulators almost never do that. In fact, now the FDA wants to do more. They want to regulate how your doctor uses his smartphone. They want the power to approve mobile medical applications like this one that lets doctors monitor patients' vital signs over a phone. Here's the doctor who developed it explaining it.
Even though I'm away from the hospital, I can still look at this real-time waveform data just as if I were at the patient's bedside. But doctors like me can't be at the bedside 24/7, so we had to figure out ways to bring the data to the mobile physician anytime, anywhere, and we've now done that on the iPhone.
Sounds great to me, makes doctors more efficient. But the FDA says, no, 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 you just can't put something on your phone if it's a medical device. What if it doesn't work right? We have to approve it. And most people's first instinct is to say, yeah, I don't want some huckster getting rich off some device that might not work right. It might kill me. This is a medical device. I want the FDA to make sure everything medical is safe and effective. That's the FDA's mandate. And thinking that way is just intuitive. But lawyer Jonathan Emord says what's intuitive is wrong. Why is it wrong?
It's wrong because these regulations are costly, they're burdensome, and they prevent essential medical apps from getting into the marketplace, often to the expense of people's lives.
This might kill me if it's not done right.
Well, these things are being developed by people who know what they're doing. They're being developed by doctors and by experts of various kinds in science. There are over 200 million mobile medical apps in the marketplace today, and not a single complaint that someone's died or been seriously injured by a single one.
Well, what's the harm of just letting the government make sure it's safe and effective?
Well, that's not what it's about, because there's so much corruption at the Food and Drug Administration. There's so much anti-competitive bias within the agency that what's really going on
by
here
corruption,
is picking winners.
You don't mean taking bribes, as far as we know.
Well, it's almost like that, because you've got career employees in the political positions at the agency who are deciding how best to leave the agency. And if you feather the right nests, you'll do well for yourself after you leave. And this is well known.
Meaning you make it tougher for some company's competitor to get in the marketplace, and then you get a job with the big company?
Precisely. Picking winners and losers, that's what it's all about.
And the big company is better at dealing with the FDA?
Oh, yes. They have lobbyists constantly working it over with the political appointees. Unlike other agencies, the lobbyists have an open door at the FDA.
And what are we losing?
By the regulations?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, we're losing time, precious time that lives are dependent upon. There are instances, for example, MIM software developed a simple mobile device that would combine MRI images, PET scans, CAT scans all together and produce a super image that was better for diagnosis. To get that through the agency.
Right here on your phone?
Right on your phone. To get that through the agency took 2.5 years and cost them hundreds of thousands of dollars. All the while, it could have been in use, and ultimately it was approved. But it's this kind of delay and multiple inquiries coming from the agency on ridiculous things many times that really hurts the American public.
And there is a bias in the reporting, and we in the media mess this up, because if something does go wrong, we make a huge story about it, and your fellow lawyers get rich suing a company that made a mistake. But when they delay it for 2.5 years and people die, we don't know who those people were, because they didn't have the thing.
Well, that's right. I mean, if you take, for example, Earl and Grant Wright, who created this simple thing. All it was 2 sheets of plastic with silicone gel in between that would be used for self-breast examination. It worked in a fantastic way to exaggerate the presence of a tumor at an early stage.
A woman would use this for self-examination.
Exactly. And that thing was kept off the market for 10 years. It cost the company millions of dollars to get it through the FDA. All the while, doctors around the country are clamoring for it because it's so beneficial. And there's no, what's the risk involved with that?
I don't hear the companies complaining about the evil FDA being too slow. I don't hear a peep. In fact, I hear the big companies saying, we like the regulation.
Well, it has a great anti-competitive benefit if you're in the sack with the FDA. But when you're outside, there's another risk. If you raise your head above the parapet and you become vocal in your criticisms, the FDA remembers like an elephant and will stamp you out of existence.
They'll punish
That's the
you,
threat.
right?
They'll punish you.
This person complained about us. We're going to take an extra week on his application.
It's so much discretion in their hands. They sit like emperors reigning over this stuff.
All right, we would like to hear from the FDA on this. If you're an FDA person who wants to be in this show, give us a call. Thank you, Jonathan E. Mord. Up next, the government's plan to protect you from street vendors who sell flowers.